The moment this message found. Have you noticed how certain words, people, or moments seem to appear exactly when you need them most? Carl Jung described this as synchronicity, those meaningful coincidences that feel intentionally placed in your path. They aren't random or accidental. They're signals that you are in tune with something greater than yourself. Perhaps that's why you are here now, listening to these words. This message isn't just another video or another voice. It's a moment of synchronicity, a reminder from the universe that you are not lost, not overlooked, and that what you've been waiting for has also been waiting for you. This message was always meant to reach you. Life has a way of finding us when we least expect it. The truth is, this message was never going to miss you. It has been moving toward you all along. Every decision, every path, even the turns you thought were mistakes, led you to this exact moment. Maybe you believe you arrived here by chance, scrolling your phone, searching for something else, or simply passing time. But nothing is ever only coincidence. What you hear today isn't a disruption to your life. It is part of it. There are moments when life seems to speak directly to us, when things align so perfectly that we can't ignore the sense that it was always meant to happen. This isn't coincidence. It's meaning entering your daily routine. Think about the times you wished for a sign, something to remind you of who you are, to tell you that you are not forgotten. And then, unexpectedly, you hear words, see a message, or meet someone, and it strikes you deeply as if it was written for you alone. That's what's happening right now. This message was always meant to reach you. The power of divine timing. Reflect on your life. Consider the days you wondered if you were moving in the right direction. The moments of doubt when you thought you had missed your chance, yet here you are, hearing this at the precise time you were meant to. If it had come earlier, you might not have noticed. If later, it might have been too late. But today, you are ready. Life unfolds in patterns we rarely recognize while we're living them. You take a step forward, fall 2 steps back, and wonder if the struggle has meaning. You replay mistakes, failures, and missed opportunities. But even in those difficult moments, something larger was at work. Every disappointment was guiding you here. Every delay was protecting you. Every heartbreak was shaping you. Every closed door was redirecting you. This is why this message arrives now, because you are strong enough to receive it. You were never abandoned in the nights you felt forgotten. You were being prepared. You were never truly lost in the seasons of wandering. You were being led, and the evidence is right here, right now. This moment itself is proof. What you are hearing is not an accident. It's the alignment of your journey, the meeting point of your readiness with the truth you needed to hear. You see, messages like these don't simply appear out of nowhere. They arrive at the right moment. They wait until you're open, until something inside you has shifted enough to let light enter. They wait until life has humbled you enough to listen differently, to hear more deeply. And once you're ready, they find you. No matter where you are or what you're doing, you can't outrun what was meant for you. You can't bury yourself deeply enough to escape what has always belonged to you. If you look back over your life, you'll notice the pattern. How certain words, certain people, and certain moments showed up exactly when you needed them most. Maybe at the time you didn't recognize it. Maybe you dismissed it as luck, coincidence, or something too small to matter. But nothing is too small when it comes to shaping your journey. Every encounter has purpose. Every meeting is a thread woven into the fabric of your destiny. So let me tell you something that may shift how you see your life. You are exactly where you're meant to be right now. It may not feel that way. It may not even look that way. But the fact that you're here, listening to this, is proof that you are on time. Proof that you haven't been forgotten, that you haven't been left behind. And while you may think you're still searching, the truth is the message you needed has been searching for you. And today, it found you. Because this was always meant to happen. Struggle has always been a teacher, even if a harsh one. When you reflect on the toughest moments of your life, the nights you thought you wouldn't survive, the days when the weight on your shoulders felt unbearable, you begin to see something clearly. Those moments were not wasted. They were shaping you even when you couldn't see it. Every setback, every heartbreak, every failure was not proof of weakness. It was evidence of preparation. Think about it. The most powerful lessons you carry today, the deepest strength you've discovered, didn't come in times of comfort. They came when life pressed against you, when things felt unfair, when you were forced to uncover what you were truly made of. You may not have understood it in the storm, but those storms were strengthening your roots, just like a tree grows. Deeper roots in strong winds, your character was forged in the very struggles you thought would break you. There's a common misconception that success, fulfillment, or destiny come with ease. People want the crown without the weight, the reward without the refining. But life doesn't work that way. The obstacles you once wished would disappear were actually the very tools shaping you into who you were meant to be. Without the pressure, without the pain, you wouldn't hold the depth, the wisdom, or the endurance you now have. You may ask, why did I have to go through so much loss, rejection, and waiting? The answer is simple. Because you couldn't become who you needed to be without passing through the fire. Steel isn't strong until tested in the furnace. Gold isn't pure until refined by heat. And your spirit isn't fully awake until it has been pressed, broken, and reshaped. Every time you thought you were defeated, you were actually in training. Every time life knocked you down, it was giving you the strength to rise differently. The pain you carried built a resilience no one can take away. Others may crumble under the weight of what you've endured, but you didn't. You survived. And that survival gave birth to a strength you may not have known was inside you. When you see someone walk with confidence, clarity, and power, understand that nothing was simply handed to them. They fought for it, they wept for it, they endured pain for it, and the same applies to you. The struggles you faced, the ones you thought might break you, are the very reasons you will rise higher. Your scars are not marks of defeat, they are marks of survival. They tell the story of someone who chose not to give up. Think about the times when you believed you had nothing left to offer, when you stood at the edge of surrender, yet something within you, something you didn't even know existed, refused to let go. That part of you, that quiet strength that appeared in your weakest moments, is your true self. That is who your struggles revealed. Without those battles, you would never have discovered that version of yourself. So, do not despise the road you've walked. Do not curse the difficulties. Instead, recognize them for what they really were. Preparation. Life was not punishing you. It was shaping you to carry the responsibility of your destiny, preparing you to walk with empathy because you understand what it means to hurt, preparing you to recognize opportunity because you know the weight of lack, preparing you to value the light because you have endured the dark. It is tempting to wish for an easier road. But if your journey had been easy, you would not be who you are today. You would not have the courage, patience, or wisdom you now carry. Your story needed resistance. Your path required struggle. Without it, you would not be ready for the next chapter awaiting you. So when you look back on the pain, the setbacks, and the long seasons of waiting, don't see them as wasted years. See them as your training ground. See them as the fire that built your strength. Because the truth is, nothing you endured was meaningless. Every battle, every loss, every disappointment was preparing you for this moment. And this very moment proves your struggles were never in vain. There is a voice within you that has been speaking your entire life. Sometimes it whispers in silence. Other times it roars so loudly you cannot ignore it. You felt it as a pull, a nudge, a deep sense that you are meant for more than what you've settled for. And though you may have drowned it out with noise, fear, or doubt, it has never disappeared. That voice is your truest self, the part of you that has always known your potential. the part that already knew the direction you were meant to follow. Think about how many times you have ignored it. You felt the urge to step forward, to make a change, to pursue something greater, but you silenced it. You told yourself, "Not yet. I'm not ready. It's too risky. What if I fail?" And each time you turned away, that voice did not leave. It waited, patiently, waiting for the moment you would finally listen. And the truth is, that moment is now. You know exactly what I mean, because even as you hear these words, you feel it stirring again, don't you? That familiar pull in your chest, that inner certainty that speaks not to your mind, but to something deeper. You can deny it to others. You can pretend you don't hear it, but you cannot lie to yourself. You know there is more within you than you've allowed to surface. And that is why you are hearing this message now, because you can no longer hide from yourself. It is strange how we often trust the noise of the world more than the wisdom within us. We listen to critics, to doubters, to people who barely know us, yet we question the voice that has been with us since the beginning. That voice is not an illusion. It is not a dream to be dismissed. It is your compass. It is the truth you've been avoiding. A reminder that what you feel inside is not random. It is a calling. You've always sensed it. Even as a child, you felt it. Maybe you didn't have the words. Maybe you couldn't explain it. But deep down, you knew your life was not meant to be ordinary. And as the years passed, perhaps you buried it under responsibilities, disappointments, and the noise of survival. But no matter how much you tried to silence it, that voice remained, because it will not let you forget who you truly are. So many spend their lives chasing approval, chasing success defined by others, trying to quiet the nagging sense that they've left something behind. The truth is, nothing outside of you can ever quiet that inner longing. You may gain recognition, wealth and comfort, yet still feel empty. Until your life aligns with that inner voice, nothing else will bring fulfillment. That voice will always remind you. The good news is, it's never too late to listen. You haven't missed your chance, nor have you fallen too far. The voice within you is still alive, still calling, still guiding. All it asks is that you trust it now. Trust that the longing for something greater is not illusion, but direction. Trust that the dream you keep hiding is not fantasy but guidance. Trust that the deepest part of you already knows the way. Of course, following it will not always be easy. It will push you into uncertainty, away from what feels safe, and into risks that may lead to failure in pursuit of truth. But think about this. What is the price of ignoring it? What does it cost to silence yourself for a lifetime? That burden is far heavier than any risk. The pain of regret is far greater than the pain of failure, and that inner voice will never let you rest until you honor it. So let this be the moment you stop running from yourself. Let this be the moment you choose to listen, to follow, to trust. Because the truth is, that voice has always known the path, even when you doubted, even when you resisted. And now it rises again to remind you, you were always meant for more. Deep down, you've known it all along. Fear has always been the loudest voice. It appears whenever you're ready to move forward. Every time you feel drawn to something greater, fear whispers, what if you fail? What if you're not enough? What if they laugh? What if you lose everything? And for too long, you've listened. For too long, you've let fear take the wheel, steering you away from risk, away from growth, away from what your heart truly wants. But here's the truth. Fear is not the problem. Fear will always exist. The real question is whether you choose fear over faith. While fear whispers, what if you fall? Faith asks, what if you fly? Fear shows you what could go wrong, but faith reveals what could go right, and your life will. Always follow the voice you choose to believe. Think of the opportunities you've let slip because of fear. How many times did you feel the urge to step up, speak, or act, but then hesitated? How many doors could have opened if you trusted the pull inside instead of the doubts in your head? You can see those moments now, but the point is not regret. The point is to realize fear will always test you, and if you don't choose differently, it will hold you back again and again. Fear pretends to be safety. It convinces you that staying small keeps you secure, that silence protects you, that doing nothing is safer than risking failure. But fear never admits the cost of your dreams, your freedom, your life fully lived. One day, safety leaves you with nothing but the realization that you never truly tried. Faith is different. Faith doesn't promise an easy road. It doesn't guarantee you won't stumble, but faith assures you that every step brings you closer to who you were meant to be. Faith reminds you that when you fall, you rise stronger. When you fail, you learn. Even when life doesn't unfold as planned, you still move forward. Faith isn't blind. It sees possibilities fear refuses to acknowledge. Think about it. Every great achievement, every breakthrough, every life that inspired you was born not from certainty, but from faith. Do you believe those people were free of fear? No, they felt the same trembling, the same doubt, the same voice whispering, "What if you fail?" But they chose faith anyway. They moved forward despite fear, and that is why they rose. The same is true for you. You don't need to erase fear. You just need to stop giving it power. See it for what it is, a shadow with no control unless you allow it. Fear cannot stop you, only you can. And the moment you choose faith over fear, everything changes. Your perspective shifts and new possibilities open. Where walls once stood, doors begin to appear. This is a choice you must make repeatedly, because fear will always attempt to return. Each time you are ready to grow, each time you prepare to step closer to your true calling, fear will arrive. But faith arrives too. In that moment you must remember, fear keeps you bound, while faith gives you freedom. Fear holds you back, but faith moves you forward. Fear tries to bury your dreams, yet faith breathes life into them. Do not wait until fear disappears, because that day may never come. Do not wait until you feel certain. Certainty is not required. What is required is faith, courage, and the trust that what is calling you is greater than what frightens you. And when you choose faith, when you stop allowing fear to dictate the final word, you discover what has always been waiting: freedom, growth, fulfillment, and the life you were meant to live. The truth is clear. Fear will always ask, "What if you fail?" But faith responds, "What if you rise?" You were not placed here by accident. Your life is not a random series of events without meaning. Everything about you, your talents, struggles, and story, points to the fact that you carry a calling. And this calling is much bigger than simply surviving, paying bills, or waiting for the weekend. You were not created only to endure. You were created to bring something into the world that only you can offer. Look closely at your life. The gifts that come naturally to you, the challenges that shaped you, and the experiences that molded you, all connect to a single thread. That thread is your purpose. You may have believed your struggles were punishments or distractions, but they were, preparing you to carry what you were meant to carry. They gave you compassion, perspective, and strength. And once you see this, you realize nothing was wasted. Not a tear, not a disappointment, not even a closed door. Yet the world often convinces people to shrink, to believe they are only here to work, survive, and get by. But deep within you, there has always been a sense that you were made for more. That inner fire, that desire for meaning, is not arrogance or greed. It is the echo of your calling, a reminder that you are part of something greater. And know this: your calling is not always about a title, a career, or recognition. It is not about comparison or measuring yourself against others. Your calling is about alignment, living in such a way that your gifts, values, and life story serve a greater purpose. For some, this impact will reach millions. For others, it will touch only a few. But both matter. Because when you step into your calling, you create ripples you may never see. Think about the people who changed your life in quiet but powerful ways. Maybe it was a teacher who believed in you when no one else did, or a friend who stood by you in silence during your hardest days. Maybe it was a stranger's words, spoken at the right time, that gave you the strength to keep moving forward. They may never know the impact they had, yet their purpose was alive in those moments. That's the power of living in alignment with what you're called to do. It always matters, even when it can't be measured. Perhaps you've been told to be realistic, to lower your expectations, to accept a smaller life than the one your heart envisions. But what they don't realize is that the longing you feel inside isn't random. That desire for more isn't just ambition, it's direction. It's your spirit telling you that you're not meant to remain where you are. There is more ahead, and the longer you resist, the stronger that inner voice will become. That's why settling never feels fulfilling. You can create a life that looks successful on the outside, but if it's not aligned with your true purpose, it will always feel empty. Your soul recognizes when you're off track. It knows when you're living beneath your potential, and it will keep reminding you until you listen. The real question is, will you answer? Will you stop treating your life as chance and begin treating it as purpose? Will you recognize that every part of your journey, even the painful parts, has been preparing you for something greater? You don't need all the answers. You don't need the entire roadmap. What you need is the courage to take one step toward what feels true, alive, and meaningful. When you do, everything begins to shift. Opportunities appear where none existed before. People cross your path who seem placed there to help you move forward, doors open that once felt shut. And even in challenges, you carry a peace you never had before, because you know you are living for something bigger than yourself. Your life is not an accident. You are here for a reason, and the moment you embrace that truth, you'll finally understand what it means to live with clarity, strength, and purpose. You were never meant to just survive. You were always meant to answer your calling. There comes a time in every life when you realize that waiting has cost too much. You keep saying you'll start tomorrow. You'll take the risk when you feel ready. You'll change when the timing is perfect, but tomorrow keeps slipping away. Days turn into months, months into years, and suddenly you've been standing still, holding on to the same excuses, repeating the same cycle. The truth is, there is no perfect moment waiting for you. The only moment you have is the one right in front of you. That's why this message had to reach you now, because this is your wake-up call. Think of how many times you've silenced your own inner voice. How many times you ignored that push inside, believing you needed to be more prepared, more confident, more equipped. But readiness is created through movement, not hesitation. You don't become ready by waiting. You become ready by beginning. Every person who has ever stepped into their purpose started in uncertainty. They didn't have all the answers, but they had the courage to begin. And once they did, clarity followed. The longer you wait, the heavier fear becomes. The longer you delay, the louder doubt grows. You keep looking for a sign that will remove all risk, but that sign will never appear. Because it's the very act of stepping forward without certainty that shapes you into who you need to be. The discomfort, the unknown, the risk. This is the ground where transformation grows. Ask yourself honestly, how much longer will you postpone the life you were created to live? How many more excuses will you let yourself believe? I'll try when I have more time. I'll start when I have more money. I'll move forward when I feel stronger. But here's the truth. You will never feel completely ready. Life is designed that way. Doors open only when you knock. The path reveals itself only when you take the first step. This is why so many people remain stuck in mediocrity. They wait for perfect conditions that never come. They live carefully, safely, comfortably, but never fully. And then they wonder, Why joy escapes them, why life feels empty. It's because their spirit knows they were made for more, but they kept pressing snooze on the call, ignoring the alarm meant to wake them. But you have a choice right now. You can decide this. Won't be another moment that slips away. You can choose that this won't be another message you hear, agree with, and then forget. You can treat this moment as the turning point. The line in the sand that says, I will not keep sleeping through my life. I will not keep waiting for permission. I will not keep putting my purpose on hold. Yes, it will be uncomfortable. Yes, it will stretch you. Yes, it will ask you to leave behind what feels familiar. But everything you've wanted lives on the other side of that discomfort. Everything you've prayed for, everything you've longed for, everything deep inside you knew was meant for you, it's waiting. Not tomorrow, not next year. This message has found you at this very moment for a reason. It's not chance, it's not random. It's the reminder you've needed, the push you've been avoiding, the alarm you can no longer ignore. You don't need another sign. You don't need more time. What you need is the courage to answer the call, because this is your wake-up.